Hello and welcome to this Red Gaming Tech video. Myself and Marta, where as always I'm here with the latest from the tech world in the last 24 or so hours. Before I get into today's proceedings, just want to say that if you haven't seen Paul's Facebook post, he is currently en route to GDC. In fact, he probably is landing soon-ish if he hasn't already. Not really sure what the time difference in honesty, but yes, he's on the way to GDC. Intel actually invited him over there, so you're going to be seeing lots of vlogs and stuff from him in the next few days. But news-wise, it's probably going to be left mostly to yours truly. So let's get cracking, shall we, with Qualcomm versus Apple. Now, I have been covering their long-running legal proceedings at length. They have been butting heads here and there in various courtrooms across the world, and now we have the latest installment, this time in the US, as a US District Court judge decided that Qualcomm owes Apple nearly $1 billion in rebate payments, according to a report from Reuters. So they don't actually have to pay up until they head to trial in April, and of course if they win, that being Qualcomm, of course, they obviously won't need to pay, but if they do lose the case in April, then they will be expected to cough up. But at least according to a statement from the Qualcomm Executive Vice President and General Counsel Don Rosenberg, they're not actually planning on paying it even if they do lose. And you might go, hang on, but the judge seems to think they owe it, and if the court decides, how will they get away with that? And they said, quote, Apple has already offset the payment at issue under the agreement against royalties that were owed to Qualcomm. And if you're still scratching your head going, what does that mean? What is he referring to? He's actually talking about the decision that Apple made to stop their royalty payments back in April of 2017. So what Qualcomm is basically saying here is that they've already accounted for the withheld payments in their financial statements, so they are basically saying that the $1 billion it's lost from lack of payments should count as the $1 billion they would actually have to pay if they lost the case. So that would be a very interesting turn of events, but regardless of whether or not Qualcomm ends up coughing up or not, the judge still sided with Apple, which is very, very interesting. Now, this is by no means going to be the last update on this case. Again, they have several ongoing proceedings in various locations across the world. So, yeah, expect to hear more from this particular one. Next up, however, we have quite an interesting acquisition that has taken place, as Turtle Beach has acquired Roccat, as they officially announced today that they are going to be acquiring or entering into an agreement to acquire, should I say, Roccat, who are one of the best PC peripherals companies. And to be honest, I actually really like Roccat's products. I actually currently use a Roccat mechanical keyboard that they did send us to review and very generously allowed us to keep. But back to the story, Turtle Beach is actually acquiring Roccat for quite a hefty sum, $14.8 million in cash, net of a working capital adjustment, $1 million in cash or stock, plus roughly $3.4 million in earn-out payments. Now, we are expected to see this actually complete in the second quarter, and the contribution that Roccat is expected to make towards Turtle Beach's net revenue is expected to be in the ballpark of 20 to 25 million, which is crazy. And they are expecting revenues from Roccat products to be over 30 million by the year 2020. Now, I do have a bit of a statement here from Jürgen Stark, who is the CEO of Turtle Beach, and he said, quote, "This is a dynamic and strategically important deal for Turtle Beach. We are adding a complementary portfolio of PC gaming mice and keyboards, a skilled PC accessories team, and a highly synergistic distribution footprint. The acquisition is also a key step in achieving our goal of building a $100 million PC gaming accessories business in the coming years. Roccat accelerates our expansion into the roughly $1.6 billion PC gaming headset market, as well as directly enables us to address the roughly $1.3 billion PC gaming keyboard and mice market. We believe our combined product portfolio is one of the strongest in the industry, covering gaming headsets for consoles and PCs, gaming keyboards and mice. Together, we will have 48 core product models to pursue the total addressable market of over $4.7 billion in North America, Europe, and Asia." Now, this is obviously good for both Turtle Beach and Roccat, but there are definitely concerns from the consumer side. Obviously, this does mean less competition because, again, Roccat is pretty well known amongst gamers. I personally do like the few products of theirs that I have used, as I've already said. Turtle Beach, I've kind of had a bit of a mixed bag with. I have owned a couple of pairs of their headphones, and they were all right, but not really for the price. And obviously there are concerns about this might interfere with quality and stuff like that, but as long as they don't mess with the quality, I think this will be fine. and also hopefully we do see them still continue to put out the sort of same, I guess, style of product is the best way to put it. I don't want Roccat to change their sort of core philosophy of the way their products typically look and feel and that sort of thing. Again, the lack of competition or the sort of bowing out of one of the competition, I suppose, is definitely a concern, but this sort of thing happens all the time, not exactly outside the realm of the norm. But we have a couple of items next kind of to do with Steam, the first of which is regarding Intel. And this is actually thanks to the latest Steam hardware survey. Now again, this is a voluntary survey that you have to obviously choose to do, so this is by no means a read of the complete Steam base, but out of the people that took the latest survey, we do see that just over 80% of its users actually have Intel installed on their PCs. And in case you're wondering if this is a fluctuation either up or down, it's actually kind of remaining steady with the last couple of months. But again, this is just a percentage of the people who took the Steam hardware survey. That is, again, a voluntary thing. So this is by no means 80% of Steam users, because that would be kind of crazy amount of people. Obviously, Steam has basically everyone on the planet at this point. But it's still interesting, nonetheless, that Intel does still remain the favourite among Steam users, at least at the moment. Obviously, we are seeing AMD continue to gain ground with Ryzen, and of course, we are very much going to see a pivotal point happen this year with the release of Ryzen 3000, and of course what Intel is doing on their 10nm side as well. We obviously really need to see AMD try and capitalise on it, but Intel are obviously not going to just sit on their laurels and let them do that. They're obviously going to try and fight back, because despite the fact that they are still in the lead, they have lost ground, they have lost market share, and of course gamers have lost faith in them, and AIBs have as well, because they've had to go with AMD due to their shortage issues. So the race is very much on, and I'm sure AMD are very aware that they're coming to a key moment when they have to make sure they are coming out strong. But speaking of Steam, we're actually going to move over to something regarding Epic and Steam. Now, you may or may not have seen a Reddit post which was doing the rounds, and of course will be linked in the description below this video. If you haven't read it, I suggest you do so. But basically the Reddit post, which is rather long, claims amongst a few other things that the app is basically attempts to access DLLs, and root certificates, as well as running processes without notifying the user. The poster then said that the data is being transmitted to Epic, and it also stores hardware information in the registry. And unsurprisingly, this kind of set a fire under everyone, because if that were actually happening, that would actually be really, really bad. And Epic have actually responded to these accusations, basically said that, well, what the launcher is actually doing is that collecting information is... It is collecting information, should I say, if I can speak, for various things, including its support a creative program, obviously talking with the Unreal editor as well, and importing your Steam friends list if you opt to. Now, it does scan for active processes, but according to the president of engineering over at Epic, Daniel Vogel, it only does this to basically make sure that the games are not attempting to update while they're running, and that the data is not being sent to Epic. Now, there was some interesting results posted on Resetera, and I will include a link to that thread in the description below this video. Go give it a read if you're at all curious on what exactly is going on. But going back to the comments made by Daniel Vogel, basically said that the launcher does make an encrypted copy of your local config.vdf file from Steam, but this only gets into Epic if you opt to import your Steam's friends list via the add friend menu in the app, and then still only sends the hashed IDs of your friends. And he went on to say, quote, "We use a tracking pixel, tracking.js, for our support a creator program so we can pay creators. We also track page statistics. The launcher sends a hardware survey, CPU, GPU, and the like at regular interval, as outlined in our privacy policy. The UDP traffic highlighted in this post is a launch feature for communication with the Unreal editor. The source of the underlying system is available on GitHub. The majority of the launcher UI is implemented using a web technology that is being rendered by Chromium, which is open source. The root certificate and cookie access mentioned above is a result of normal web browser startup." And this has also even attracted the attention of Epic boss Tim Sweeney, who actually commented on the Reddit thread, basically saying that the launcher should only access the local config.vdf file from Steam if you have opted to import your friends list and not ever before this point. But he did also have a bit of a statement saying, quote, "The current implementation is a remnant left over from our rush to implement social features in the early days of Fortnite. It's actually my fault for pushing the launcher team to support it super quickly and then identifying that we had to change it. Since this issue came to the forefront, we're going to fix it." So whether or not you believe this statement is entirely up to you. But all of the users' findings are in the Reddit thread, which is in the description below this video, and the Raytracing thread, where again there was another user's findings posted, is also there for your perusal, so do check it out. And of course, if you know your stuff, you're more than welcome to have a look yourself if you do have the Epic launcher installed. So we're going to finish things up today with a little something from Crytek, as they have released a very nice shiny new video, which will be linked in the description below this video as well. Yes, I know, lots of links for you guys today, demonstrating the very interesting results of a development project by the name of Neon Noir. Now, this is basically a real-time ray tracing demo for CryEngine. Now, this feature is apparently going to be added to their release roadmap for 2019, so obviously yet more ray tracing support coming, as we have definitely seen a lack of that. But basically we are seeing a version of CryEngine 5.5 being used here. But what is the most interesting thing you'll notice in the video is that the demo was rendered on an AMD 56 GPU. Now, it does plainly state in the description below the video, which again is linked in my description, that this is a new experimental ray tracing feature. And what does that actually mean, I hear you ask? Well, it is a feature that simplifies and automates the rendering and content creation process to basically make sure that any objects that are animated and any changes in lighting are correctly reflected in a nice level of detail, of course, in that very critical real time. And as the video itself plainly states right at the start, it's real-time ray-traced reflections. So again, it does seem to be just the reflections that were being ray-traced here. And to kind of further hammer home this point, they also say that screen space reflections were not to use in this demo to basically really let the real-time ray trace reflections speak for themselves. So even if this is kind of ray tracing light, if you compare it to what we have seen shown off by Nvidia with their RTX stuff, it is still impressive to see, and very, very interesting to see that this was done on an AMD 56 GPU. Now, this is just a demo, but color me very, very interested, Crytek. That much I will definitely say. Go check out the full video, guys. It's worth a look-see. Anyway, that is me done for this video. Thank you so much for watching. As always, your support is highly appreciated, and I'll see you next time.